All right, guys, let us talk all about self-compassion and treats. So, as I have these moments, I try to mentally capture them so that way I can share them with you to give actual real life examples of how self-compassion works into your weight loss and weight maintenance journey. Well, this week I had been having that time of the month, and I have been craving chocolate brownies. And I make these really good black bean chocolate brownies. I posted the recipe on Instagram, Facebook, and it's in the Half Size Me community as well. And I wanted them for 3 days. So the way that I do this is how self-compassion looks and what I think people are afraid self-compassion is. So on day one, I get a craving for the brownies. And I say to myself, Heather, you don't normally just out of nowhere crave these, right? So here's what we'll do. We didn't plan them in today. We're gonna pass on this and we're gonna, see what happens tomorrow. Because what I have learned over time from doing delayed gratification is a lot of the times the things I want in the here and now, whether it's to make a purchase, whether it's to eat a food, it's normally charged by how I'm feeling that day, not what I really want. But I've only figured this out because I've done delayed gratification. I've given myself the pause, I've walked away from it, and then I've come back to it later to realize I don't really want that thing anymore. So I said, okay, let's just not do it today. We'll see how you feel tomorrow. So self-compassion, right? It identified something I really wanted, but I didn't really need it. And it was just kind of making that mental note of let's see how you feel tomorrow. So the second day, really still want the brownies. They're still on my mind. I look up the recipe in the forums to see if I have the ingredients. And then I say to myself, this is really interesting, Heather. You really do want these brownies. This is day 2. You're still thinking about it. You still want them. But you didn't prioritize them into your day. So let's see what happens tomorrow. So self-compassion, again, identifying what I want, not what I need, and making a note. And then the thing I have learned from my history is that if I go too long without the thing I want, and this is not impulsively eating it in the moment. I mean, I really have wanted this thing for a while and I keep saying no, 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 no. If I don't give myself something, I sometimes self-sabotage. So on the third day, which for me was Wednesday, on the third day, I still wanted the brownies. And so I constructed my day to have enough points or calories for the brownie, and I made them. And I had them in the afternoon while I watched a movie. And the self-compassion piece came from identifying what I wanted, not necessarily what I needed, making mental note of the fact that I had waited several days before having it, that delayed gratification, the compassion to say, Heather, when you normally keep withholding what you really want, you end up self-sabotaging. So why don't we make a plan to make the brownies, and you will make your family aware of them so you don't devour the entire tray by yourself. I shared some with my spouse. Once my kids knew about them because they love them, they were like, oh my gosh, can we have some? And I said, I'm saving yours for dinner. So if I had secretly made them, I may have eaten the whole tray. But because I made it public knowledge, I even shared it on social media, I kept myself in check. But do you notice the self-compassion was the realization that I wanted something, the kindness to say, okay, let's see tomorrow, right? It wasn't a hard no. It wasn't you shouldn't have it, you can't have it, yada, yada, yada. It was let's see how you feel tomorrow. Oh, you're still feeling the same way the next day. Good to know. Okay, and by the third day, I'm actually giving myself permission to make them, enjoy them, because what I realize is self-compassion, this whole self-compassion thing, is knowing the things I do that are very self-destructive and accepting that and making a plan to do something to avoid that whole situation. Self-compassion is really about knowing yourself. It's knowing the things that trip you up. It's knowing the things that you tend to do that are maybe not super helpful, but it's also not giving in impulsively in the moment. I think a lot of people think self-compassion would be, I want brownies. I go store, I get brownies. No. That is not self-compassion. Self-compassion is really in line with what it is you want, your personal goals, your values, but it is that loving voice that is helping you to identify what you need versus what you want, and what you tend to do that goes against your goals and tries to help prevent you going down a slippery slope that could be extremely self-destructive. So I'm hoping that these self-compassion, real world, real life, these are happening to me in the moment videos are helpful to you, because I think if we could all tap in more to our voice of self-compassion, we would do so much better, because you wouldn't give in to every little thing you wanted, but you also wouldn't keep stringing yourself along and saying, no, 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 can't, shouldn't. And then before you know it, you're face first in some kind of brownie dough because you can't get it cooked fast enough, right? So just want to throw that out there as an idea for today. Please let me know if these self-compassion videos are helping you, if it's resonating with you. And if you need more help with this, also let me know. All right, you guys have a great one. Talk to you soon.